So what you're talking about is I took this ASVAB test. I didn't know how to read and write pretty much in high school. I was like at fourth grade reading level. And I took that test a few times, and I finally passed it. And when I passed it, I actually drove my car to the daggone airport and watched planes take off, because I was like, I'm gonna be on one of those planes one day going to Air Force boot camp. So I always fixed the things on the surface. So if I couldn't read and write, I learned to read and write. I would always fix these things on the surface level. And so whenever something hard would raise its ugly head, I didn't have any kind of tools to handle it. I'm like, man, I thought I fixed this already, man. But no, I didn't go deep into the dungeon of my soul and say, okay, what is making you a quitter? What is making you a weak man? What is making you afraid? And so that's why I kept on quitting and going back to start, or not knowing how to get through hard times. And that's why I always tell people, I'm not a theorist. I didn't study, I didn't study a fucking book. I literally put myself in a fire repeatedly like a sword. You put a sword in the fire repeatedly and repeatedly. If you keep on doing that, you're going to get a nice sword. And then you keep on beating it. You got to beat the shit out of it. And that's what I am. Yeah. I became that. I said, okay, we can't quit. We got to figure out why you are this pussy. Why are you this pussy, man? What is wrong with you? What's going on here? So I kept on putting the sword back in the daggone fire, and I just beat it harder. And I beat it harder. Before I knew it, I started realizing, all right, man. The brain is starting to get hard. The brain is starting to get hard. I'm no longer a theorist. I'm now a practitioner. I put it in hell. I dissected it while it's in hell, because you can't dissect anything in a normal environment. You can't dissect anything in 72-degree weather. You must put it in the fucking freezer and freeze the fuck out of it. And then you dissect it. Dissect it when it's miserable. Dissect the brain when all it's thinking about is, I need to get out of here, man. I want to get out of the fucking freezer. Open the door. And he said, nah, 5 more seconds, man. 5 more seconds in the freezer. And that's when you start to pick that brain apart. And that's when all this stuff did to me. I kept on putting myself back into the freezer or the fire and beating the shit out of myself, mentally and physically. Before I knew it, this is what happened.
Wow. It's an interesting way to self-teach. You know, like most people that, you talk to that are disciplined, they, they have something that they read that inspired them. They have certain people that they look up to. There's certain, coaches that taught them. There's certain important moments in their life. But for you, it's a system of failure and reflection, and then rebooting.
That's it. Yeah. Repeated failure. And people think a lot of times about me that I'm angry. Oh my God, you sound so angry. You cuss so much. Oh my God, why you cuss so much? Why are you so crazy? If you read my book, I cannot explain my life by saying, hey, it was a Merry fucking Christmas, man. No, it wasn't. I want you to go there with me. I'm taking you there with me. I'm a storyteller. I want to take your ass down paradise. So the house I lived in Buffalo, New York, that I got my ass beat every day, funny. We lived on Paradise Road, and it was anything but fucking paradise. So I want you to go there with me. You want to learn from me? Let me take your ass home. Let me take you there. So that's the whole thing about it, man. We're scared to dive into our lives. What made us who we are? The beautiful people that we are. We're all jacked up in so many ways. That's the beauty of us. That's the beauty of me. I'm jacked up, but I figured out my own little process on how to get unjacked up and how to. I'm not going to get the same. I'm not going to get the same way you're going to get there. You may get there by going point A to point B. I might go point C to D to E to F, but I'm going to be there the same way you are, just a little harder. That's how I train my brain. So it's just different. I'm just a different thinker.
When you stop and think about all the different times that you did have to reboot, and how you found like new goals, and you found new inspiration, and you fired up a new discipline, and you became stronger and harder, and you got one of the things that people always look for in life, they look for a point where they can rest.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm going to retire. Like people love that expression, the golden years. They love that expression.
Yes.
You know, they love the idea of a struggle as long as it ends, and then when it ends, they're gonna have a nice, comfortable spot.
It must
Like,
end.
Yeah,
The
it must
suffering
end.
must end.
Yeah, you should relax, man. You've done so much.
That's right.
You've really done so much. But the idea of reaching this golden year is it's a very flawed idea, because it's an idea that you're gonna work hard, but then you're gonna reach the finish line. But there's no finish line.
No.
It doesn't exist.
That's the scary thing about life, my friend.
That is a scary thing, right?
And
There
that's
is no-
what fatigues me. People go, man, why don't you ever smile? There's no fucking end, my friend. There's no
Every
end.
day.
There's no end.